after 5 minutes.
Resolved. This House will prioritize education funding towards civic competency and critical thinking rather than technical skills alone. Abe Zion, Pastor Farmer. We as the farmers are defining the motion as a value debate because it's all about preference and it also answers the questions why and what. That is, what are we prioritizing and why are we prioritizing it? So, panel, in today's motion, Team of Farmers is saying education funding should be directed towards civic competence and critical thinking, being more important but without excluding the technical skills. Allow me to define the key terms. We have to prioritize. To prioritize is to make something or to consider something as more important or valuable. Then you have critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to analyze information objectively and rationally, forming well-reasoned judgments and making informed decisions. It also includes questioning, assumptions, evaluating evidence, and considering different perspectives to arrive at a logical conclusion. We have the aspect of critical thinking, where we have analysis, evaluation, and interpretation. Now, we have the importance of critical thinking, which is that it enhances the problem-solving abilities. It also helps to improve the decision-making and also one's creativity. Now, we have civic competence. This is the knowledge and skills, attitudes, and values that enable an individual to actively and responsibly participate in a democratic society. It includes understanding of how democratic societies function. Now, the examples of civic competence, we have voting, participating in public discussions, holding elected official accounts, and constructive dialogue. Now, we have the aspects of critical thinking. Well, we have knowledge, understanding the function of democratic institutions. We have civic rights and responsibilities, and also understanding the history and principles of democracy. Now, panel, civic competency has critical effects across nearly every sector of the society. We have it affects the health sector, water and sanitation, roads and infrastructure, education, and even employment. So, panel, when people understand their rights and responsibilities, it transforms how their systems function. It creates a stronger democracy. It improves and encourages the social contracts. And the social cohesion also fosters a sense of community and shared responsibilities, hence promoting social harmony. Now, panel, civic competency is like a social operating system. When civic competency is strong, all the other sectors will run smoothly. Now, panel, we have education funding. Education funding is just the financial resources that are allocated to support the education sector. It includes the funding of different levels from primary to the tertiary levels. Its objective is majorly to improve the learning outcomes. We have technical skills. Technical skills it's literally the specialized knowledge and abilities needed to perform a specific task or often in particular field and a particular field or industry. It includes jobs like programming and coding, web development, data analysis, and cloud computing, also including cybersecurity. Our parameters being Uganda, we'd like to inform you that according to www.monitor.com, Uganda is making technical and vocational education a national priority in its education funding reforms of 2025 and beyond. The Technical and Vocational Education and Training Act of 2025 was put in place to emphasize on the industry-related skills and to reduce poverty and build a self-economy from the roots. Now, Pan, I would like to inform you that according to a report from the Uganda Manufacturers Association, 68% of workers lack technical skills but are employed due to critical thinking abilities. According to the National Research Laboratory of Uganda, a study of Makerere University Business School found that critical thinking is present to a small extent. What does this show? It shows that we need to put more emphasis on the funds and they should be directed to the critical thinking. In Uganda, a while back study has indicated that 84% of Ugandan employers identify it as a key workplace success. Now, they're identifying that critical thinking as a key workplace success. This shows that critical thinking is on high demand in Uganda's job market. Now, panel, today in Uganda, there are some reasons why Uganda is lagging behind, and this includes the youth unemployment, we have the high public debt, the weak civic engagement, and the unethical decision makers. Now, panel, the impacts of civic competency and critical thinking is that it can solve corruption, unemployment, poor financial decisions, accountability, the discrimination, and even crimes. Now, panel, the long-term effects of this will be that they improve the service delivery, accountability, and transparency. Even the civic competency enhances the technical application. Now, panel, we as the farmers are coming here today, not to say that you are going to exclude the technical skills, but you have come to also say that you are just prioritizing the critical thinking and the civic competence, but you are going to still include the technical skills. I beg to rest.
This House will prioritize education funding to civic competence and critical thinking rather than technical skills alone. Resolved. Team Affirmative is coming here telling us that people are employed due to critical thinking, not knowing that there's still high demand of information security due to the fact that in an increasingly digital world, security is an area of concern among many business owners. Data breaches can have a devastating impact on a business from from the loss of customers through the irreparable damages to the reputation of the company. As a result, demand is resulting for technical security specialists. That means that it still needs technical skills in order to boost on the security of those businesses. Without technical skills, the security cannot be boosted. We as Team Negative, we don't say that they should abandon the civic competence and critical thinking, but instead they should prioritize the technical skills rather than civic competences and critical thinking. Due to the fact that it is a value resolution, since it reflects the societal values, for example, education purpose, resource allocation, and also it bases on the value outcomes. How are the Team Affirmative going to add value with civic competence and critical thinking if they are going to be given a priority? Dear judges, with the ability to analyze information objectively, identify biases and form reasonable judgments, but without the ability and knowledge needed to perform specific tasks related to a particular job, you cannot do anything. That means without technical skills, critical thinking cannot and civic competence cannot apply. Project implementation. Being able to effectively coordinate resources, people and budgets as a project manager. Project management. Being able to effectively coordinate resources, people and budgets as a project manager is one of the best technical skills that you can have. Project managers are required in every industry, from construction through digital design. As a qualified project manager, will be able to deliver projects more effectively, use resources cost effectively, and deploy the right staff to complete the right tasks. This can result to resource savings, prompt resolution of problems, anticipation of future issues, and an overall of improvement in work work income. But with only critical thinking and civic competence, this can't be achieved due to the fact that they are the technical skills that are needed in order to prompt the resolution of the problems and anticipation in future issues. We have some of the projects that are using technical skills in their project management. For example, we have software development and infrastructure upgrades. In software development, the technical skills are crucial. For both development process and its management. Technical experts allows managers to understand project requirements, assess feasibility, identify potential risks, and optimize development process. By this, since we are not abandoning the critical thinking and civic competence, by use of the technical skills, they will borrow some really from the critical thinking to help them in the solving of the problem, but after identifying the potential risks using the technical skills. As we see, also designers in the photo shoot, they use their technical skills in order to carry out their jobs and to improve on their productivity of their products. But instead, critical thinking only involves a person's IQ. That means that if a person is only using critical thinking but without technical skills, even the goods produced will be local, but they will not have some advance. I rest my case by saying that technical skills should be prioritized instead of the civic competence and critical thinking.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute. This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Resolve. This house would prioritize education funding towards civic competency and critical thinking rather than technical skills alone. So now, panel, what is Team Affirmative saying in today's motion? Today, Affirmatives are saying that we are not excluding technical skills, but rather we are actually prioritizing civic competency and critical thinking. More importantly, why? Because this is actually the solution to what is happening in Uganda today, setting our perimeter as Uganda. So now, panel, the first negator literally comes and actually believes that yes, for technical skills to actually be practical, there need to be the aspect of critical thinking. Now, panel, she comes in and says that you cannot actually work. When you have critical thinking, doesn't automatically mean that you will not have technical skills. But panel, I would like to question them. So when wood is no more, will that mean that we shall not have furniture? Because when time reaches and wood is no more, it means that your practical skills will actually not be applicable. But if you have the aspect of critical thinking within you, it means that now we have a decision to be like, if food is not there, what is there? We have bottles. We can make furniture out of bottles. That is what we're saying, that critical thinking being a good aspect in actually all sectors, it should be prioritized and brought first on table. Now, Bano, Team Farmers, we have a case and abandon to prove two things, to prove their priority, to prove why they should actually be priorities. One is critical thinking. And as I've shown, Pano, technical skills alone, as the motion actually says, despite the fact that the first negator is saying that, yes, they'll borrow an idea of critical thinking within their technical skills. So, Pano, technical skills alone, as the motion literally says, it can actually be threatened by technology, because we have seen today people being replaced by tools, by machines. But Pano, what employers are looking for, what do you bring on the table? Such that instead of being replaced by this machine, we're actually using the same person, you. Because of your critical thinking, because of critical thinking, employment will be attained, because they'll actually be looking at what can you bring on the table, what more do you have. So Pano, as the first affirmer said, that our bank survey indicates that 84% of Uganda's employees are actually looking for people with critical thinking, not the skills alone, because the skills are actually threatened by technology advancements. Now Pano, what is our second burden as team affirmatives is what is happening in the status quo. Actually, Pano, in the status quo today, we have unemployment that is actually happening. We have youth unemployment. Pano, we are having a lot of problems in Uganda today. That's why there is need for education funding, because education funding, actually, the main reason of why education is actually funded is to solve the urgent of emergency in a state today. So now, Pano, the status quo say that we have unemployment, we have a lot of problems that happen. So team affirmatives, we are saying that, why don't we actually bring in this aspect of civic competency? Why? Because we believe that there is no way of improving the economy without improving the policies that affect the different sectors that we're talking about. There is actually no way we are going to bring about development in a nation if there is no transparency and there is no holding people we elected in power accountable for the policies that they are governing. Pano, what am I saying? Yes, technical skills are there. The technical skills that team negators is bringing about. Yes, technical skills are there, because we have seen that 82% of the VTE graduates and over 1,000 students are actually being graduated year on. So people already have the technical skills. Yes, they're there. But why do we still have issues of unemployment? She's actually talking of security. But Pano, I would like to inform you that Uganda is not that safe a country. But Pano, how is this coming about? We are saying that, yes, technical skills are there, but why isn't it actually being efficient in tackling the different problems that Uganda is facing today? This is because the people actually making these policies are unethical. Pano, yes, we have seen individuals working, they are earning, they are paying taxes. But Pano, what is actually the actual problem? I would like to rest my case.
Resolved. This House will prioritize education funding towards civic competence and critical thinking rather than technical skills alone. Team Affirmative is coming here and telling us that it is a value debate, but they have left the question unanswered. They are saying that the value debate is why and what. But for us, our first negator came in and said that it's a value debate. Now, I'm not answering the question they left behind. We are prioritizing technical funding rather than the civic competence and critical thinking. No, we are not neglecting this funding of critical thinking. We are just pledging that the more funds should go to the technical skills. They left another question. They left and they told us the second affirmer told us that the replacement of machines. As we know, this replacement of machines is by the IT management. The IT management, this is a practical skill in the technical skills. Now, they are telling us that it is due to the critical thinking, it has led to replacement of machines, that the work which has been done by the people. Now, Pano, this replacement of machines like the AI, the machines that they are talking about, they were replaced by the IT management, which is a technical skill, and they have told us that the work that the critical thinking is more beneficial, but instead that the IT management or the technical skills, these people who who benefit from the technical skills have made more, not knowing that they have made they are the one who have made the machines. Below, we are having our suggestions that we are supporting that they should prioritize the technical skills like the information
POI
security.
speaker.
In an increasingly digital world, security is an area of concern among many business owners. Data breaches can have a devastating impact on a business, from loss of customers through to irreparable damages to the reputation of the company as a result, demanding for increase for technical security specialists. Pano, what I'm trying to say that you cannot have like they were like the statement they left us hanging with the replacement of machines. Pano, no, when you're having increasing of technology, we are having the data leakage. Pano, but with technical skills, people are going to learn how to, like the IT and data management role. These people are managing the information security.
POI speak.
Rejected. These people, like now the security management is a technical skill where specialists develop the knowledge to identify loopholes in systems, pinpoint any vulnerabilities, and tailor practices to strengthen the way in which information is managed. Learning information security and displaying it on your CV as a technical skill can add value to your application, particularly if you are entering an IT or data management role. Analysis of big data and business intelligence. This type of data analysis is crucial in many roles because it can give business vital information they can use to retain market share or define their competitive advantage. Dear Panu, big data analysis plays a crucial role in overall business process, which is why this technical skill is valued so highly by many employers. Evaluating large data sets is a complex task, and the results will help to identify correlations. For that, I raise my case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute. This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Panel resolved. We prioritize education funding towards civic competence and critical thinking rather than technical skills alone. It doesn't mean that we are actually neglecting the technical skills that are present in the world of today. So, panel, today we have noticed that because we are prioritizing technical skills more, we are suffering problems like lack of cooperation, corruption, poor governance, unemployment, and unethical decision makers. All of these problems can actually be assessed if we put more emphasis into things like critical thinking and civic competence. How does civic competence actually help the citizens in our country today? That was the status, that was the parameter. It promotes things like democracy and social stability because we have seen critical thinking is, if emphasized, will bring up citizens who can think critically as they participate in democratic events and with a sense of patriotism. Citizens can monitor public officials, they can demand transparency and hold leaders accountable and actively resist and report corrupt practices. Such a problem will actually help handle the problem of corruption. So it also brings up a healthy society since technical expertise alone are insufficient. Let us look at some of the things that the negator brought up.
Point of information, Speaker.
Rejected. The first negator talks about technical skills being needed for things like security. But personally, a critical thinker who wanted to think of a cheaper alternative would prefer security dogs as an option. And in the end, that's a solution to one of the problems. The first negator still even brought out that even with technical skills, they depend a little bit on critical thinking. This leads you to ask yourself, why are they against its funding? The second negator talked of that they aren't against critical thinking and civic competence. They talked about more funds actually being needed to go to technical skills. But why do we actually need to fund something that has failed alone? We need to fund something that is actually going to raise what is failing so that it will even improve what is there right now. So even with the technical skills instilled within the people who protect data as they claim, if information can still be stolen, that was pardon. If information can still be robbed, I think we need more brains than bodies. So Your POI?
My question is, how are you going to prioritize?
Prioritizing is just prioritizing. It's prioritizing. So the negators, pardon. Today what are we trying to say? There are a lot of issues that can actually be helped in if we actually prioritize critical thinking and civic competence. Let us look at some of the importances of critical thinking. Critical thinking addresses unemployment since it is immune to changes of the world of today. Take a look at AI that can now make applications just by vocal request. An example is Casa. Something like this is a threat to those with technical skills in coding. And yet, once you're a coder, you cannot become a doctor. So it clearly shows that we actually need more of the brains than the technical skills that are instilled within us right now. So, panels, the negators plan on continuing to invest in technical skills, and yet for all of its years of existence, it has bared negligible fruit. And to add on to that, it hasn't addressed unemployment, corruption, and other problems, clearly showing that we need a way forward. Unlike us, as they are farmers, who come to fund a future that is unshakable and sustainable. Because we work now and the people will do the rest. They will vote, they will love their country, they will fight corruption, they will create their own jobs, and best of all, more at the pace of the changing world. Thank you, I rest my case.
Despite the fact that Team Affirmative, they are alleging and saying that in their first speech, they decided to tell us that 68% as the status scores that they got of workers lack technical skills, but they have been employed on critical thinking. Dear judges, let's look at this. It is already an insight that technical skills needs a priority, because when we are having 68% of people that are bearing critical thinking and they are being employed, but they are lacking technical skills, whereby in technical skills we have the soft and hard skills. These skills are of a greater benefit to our world. These skills are of a more future when we come to adding a value to the state. Dear judges, I'm going to come again and I look at, we have posed a question to them. How are they going to prioritize their civic competency and critical thinking? And they have failed to tell us how they are going to prioritize. That's why we, Team Negative, we come in to tell you that we are going to prioritize we are going to prioritize technical skills in a way that we are going to do what we call resource allocation. Under this, we are going to prioritize civic competence. We are going to see that if we are to prioritize civic competence, we are going to have diverted resources from other important areas such as the technical skills. If those resources are being diverted and we give them to civic competence, our region or our country, as they set the parameter to be in Uganda, is going to lack value, because we are looking at how are we going to add a value. We are looking for how are we going to solve problems that are devaluing our nation. Dear judges, let's have a look at this. They posed the question that this is a value resolution whereby we have a why and a what question. My team has been saying that it's a value resolution, we don't disagree, but we are going to prioritize technical skills in the way that after prioritizing them, we are going to see that we say that we are prioritizing it due to the fact that it has a greater impact in the education's purpose, community benefits, and due to the resource allocations. That's the reason to why we decided to take it as a value resolution. Invalid. Dear judges, invalid. They are talking about of the machines, the unemployment, the insecurity. But this is what we have been discussing of. This is what we have been informing them of. That due to information security, we are going to manage to overcome the insecurity that is currently happening, dear judges. Due to the fact that we are going to develop more security measures using the technology and the skills that are right now happening in the world. Dear judges, despite the fact that their third speaker has failed to come and show us a difference within our team and their team, despite the fact that their third speaker has come and just laid more points and just brought up more suggestions that even we don't recognize right now in the speech where we are. He's bringing in the democracy and social stability. Dear judges, we accept due to civic competence, there will be democracy and social stability. But how is this going to add a value to our nation? Dear judges, we are in a value resolution. We are looking for how we are going to add a value. Therefore, here, they are talking of corruption, lack of cooperation, but dear judges, due to technical skills, we are going to see that the disabled are going to be valued, whereby due to the technical skills that a disabled will occur or will receive and acquire will be in position to stand with any other person and work together. Therefore, we are going to see that cooperation is existing. They are talked about of the point of accountability and transparency in their first speech as their speaker was concluding. Accountability and transparency, due to the fact that we are going to have technical skills, whereby we have been talking of the software development. Here, we are able to track and monitor all the government properties and all the government programs. Therefore, we are having transparency. There is no way our funds in the country are going to be embezzled, because we have a better way. We have put the measures that are going to be of a greater benefit. Thank you. I rest my case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute. This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Resolved, a critical answer. Are we going to entrust our lives with dogs to make security of the nation?
Pardon?
Are we going to entrust our life with dogs to security guard the nation?
No, that's why we need ethical
Okay,
thinkers.
no,
That's why we're
yes.
installing critical thinking in our
No,
leaders through
yes.
education funding.
Is civic competence a solution to the problems we have in the state now?
Yes, because there is corruption. If
Done,
citizens
yes.
can identify what
Is there a
happening
demand
in the country,
in
they can
technical
actually hold
skills
their leaders
sector?
accountable.
Is there a demand in technical skill?
Yes, but there is a demand in
Yes,
critical
yes,
thinking
yes,
and
yes.
civic competence in this
Yes.
country to provide an environment for
yes,
technical
yes.
skills.
What is the rate of the people who are in process of civic education?
They are very low. That's why we need to empower it.
They are very low.
That's why we have corruption, because they are very low.
Enough. What is the first measure to be done to fight corruption?
Installing civic competence through education funding.
Thank you. On technical skills and civic competence, what was the first to be introduced?
Civic competence, but it was not empowered as
Civic
they've done
competence.
technical skills
Yes,
in
civic
2025.
competence. Civic competence. Is technical skills education an imperative to the state?
Pardon?
Is technical skill education an imperative to the state?
Yes, that's why we're not leaving it out.
Yes, yes. Thank you. You may take your seat. Dear judges, the panel, I want to start with a question which was posed, that is technical skills education an imperative to the state? And they said, yes, it's an imperative. By meaning the word imperative, it needs immediate action. Dear judges, we are looking up to find a solution in the state. That's as to why we are saying that we are to prioritizing the technical skills alone. Dear judges, I posed the question that which was saying that, are we going to entrust our life with dogs to safeguard our lives? Dear judges, we are looking of the nations and we are looking of the people, million people in the state. We are not going to just say that let the dogs guard the nation, as they are coming here in their third speech saying that we have the security dogs which can guard our nation. Dear judges, we leave that aside. We went on and said that on technical skills and civic education, what was introduced first, and they automatically said civic education. But we are seeing that we are increasing in our debit, in our credits in the nation. Dear judges, we are getting more loans like nothing, and civic competence has failed to fight to put any measure that we can at least solicit money to overturn that credit. Dear judges, we are seeing that that's the reason as to why we need to prioritize, to trust at least technical skills to see that we are solving some solutions in the state right now. Dear judges, I question them that what is the best measure now to fight corruption? They said civic competence. Under our curriculum of new curriculum, it's stating that we are bringing out people who can create jobs, dear judges. And the first measure we can take to fight corruption, at least per now, is to create jobs. Because we are seeing in many jobs in Uganda, people are occupied in jobs. People do not want to leave their jobs due to the earning of living, and which is not bad. So by creating more jobs through technical skills, it's going to first be done to, it's going to at least fight corruption in the state. Dear judges, I leave that aside. I question them, is civic on civic education and technical skills, what is the best essential now? We are seeing that, dear judges, we have tried this civic education for so many years, but it's bringing nothing, dear judges. We are just turning backwards. We are even graded in third world countries, dear judges. But we are seeing that if we just the rate which was produced by the state, that the time, we are growing. I rest my case.
Resolved. Without transparency and accountability, can the economy advance?
Pardon?
Without transparency and accountability, can the economy advance?
As long as there are jobs in the state.
You don't know. Can technical skills work in a country governed by corrupt leaders?
Pardon?
Can technical skills work in a country with corrupt leaders?
It was our first measure to fight corruption.
Does it work with a country with corrupt leaders?
It
Yes
was
or
our
no?
first measure to fight corruption.
Can the development of a country be possible with unethical decision makers?
Pardon?
Can the development of a country be possible with unethical decision makers?
Everyone is ethical.
You don't know. Do you believe that civic-minded citizens tend to value fairness, collaboration, and responsibility?
We are not removing civic education. We are
Where
just
will
removing-
technical skills work with no infrastructure?
Pardon?
Where will technical skills work with no infrastructure?
Infrastructure driven from
Thank
technical
you.
skills.
Can technical skills work without critical thinking?
People are naturally critically thinking.
So you believe critical thinking is in technical
is-
skills?
it is just
You're not
born.
prioritizing technical
You are
skills
just born
alone,
when
but
you
with
can
critical
critically
thinking.
think.
So you're actually not living it
People are
out.
born critically
Thank
thinking.
you. Doesn't technology threaten technical skills?
Pardon?
Doesn't technology threaten technical skills?
No, no, no.
Okay. In a country where there is corruption, can development thrive?
I told you corruption, we are fighting it with
Okay,
creating
thank you.
jobs.
You may have your seat. Panel, my first question was, without transparency and accountability, can the economy advance? He actually says it can't advance without transparency and accountability. We are saying that there is a public budget that is made by the government, that is made by the parliament. If these people were actually educated about civic competence, or about their civic rights, or about the things that are actually governing their country, they will be able to actually hold these people accountable. Yes, the Minister of Education was given money to fund people, to give them books. Yes, we have to complain because this is the money that was given to them. Because it is believed that the taxes that are in the country are got from the people. These people have to hold these people actually accountable. That is why we have to teach them about civic competence so that they can know the matters that are actually governing their country. This is where accountability and transparency will come out, because we are solving the problem of corruption. If these people can actually hold people accountable, meaning the problem of corruption will actually be solved. Can technical skills work in a country governed by corrupt leaders? He actually says no. And we're seeing a cycle. With corruption brings about unemployment which brings about poverty, actually crippling the country. In technical skills, we are seeing that people are actually hired because of their abilities and their critical thinking. If you're seeing that in a country that, let's say 1,000 people have taken up technical skills, when you're hiring, are you going to take all of them? No. You're going to hire someone who can actually critically think, what have you brought on that table? We're not going to take everyone because they have the skills and just analyze. He actually says that critical thinking is in technical skills. And yet the motion is actually saying they are prioritizing technical skills alone. So I don't know why they're actually bringing in critical thinking in the technical skills. Actually, they did not evaluate the motion. We have no chance to actually tell them how we're going to prioritize because this is a value motion. Dear panel, do you believe that civic-minded citizens tend to value fairness, collaboration, and responsibility? This is actually preventing crime. If people can actually value other citizens, they can value the development of their country, they can think of how to clean their country, how to develop their country. Let's say, let me work for my country. This is actually how the country is actually going to thrive. We're making a conducive environment for technical skills. We're not actually excluding them, but we believe with critical thinking and civic competence, technical skills can come in a much smoother way. Because in a corrupt government, we cannot have technical skills there. We all know technical skills need funding. But if there is embezzlement of funds, where are those funds actually going to come from? Can a country work with no infrastructure? We're seeing taxes are always being collected. If corruption is there, then these taxes are actually embezzled. How is this infrastructure going to be built? Maybe the building that people are going to work in, where will they work from? And with that, I believe, without critical thinking and civic competence, technical skills cannot actually be there.
The resolution to be a tad bit complex, and I required a bit of a breakdown. But I think the presentation by the first speakers is commendable based off what you were able to analyze. And as we'll go on, you'll see where you would have improved. I had basically these arguments from affirmative and negative. First, a need for evaluation of our skills and education funding, specifically to address innovation and analytical thinking from team affirmative. And then from team negative, I had more of a need-based, meaning what is the necessity of diverging funds meant to increase people's skills away to aspects such as critical thinking. I think both teams worked quite well in creating a mischief. Could someone switch off that microphone? Both teams worked well in curing the mischief, the critical mischief of you lot said, okay, we have a corrupt nation, so people are diverging funds. Even if you have the technical skills, the money will never reach you. On their end, they were able to show that a person who is technically skilled can create a duplicity of economic activities. And that ranges from, if I'm technically skilled, I become a job creator, the whole maxim of job creator, something like that. But when I had Team Affirmative's case, specifically technical knowledge being a solution to unemployment, but not critically solving the problem that we have in Uganda today, and that's what I hear from Affirmative too. Problems that Uganda faces currently. I expected Team Negative to then come and analyze that. For you, which problems do you think Uganda faces? Do you think we have a problem to do with the labor force? Do you think our people are short-staffed? There is not enough professionals. So I expected you to provide a comparative analysis based off content-wise. And therefore, I found you outmatched on content. Because whereas every time they beat you to the cup, specifically highlighting, for example, in speech 2, that technical skills are highly replaceable through mechanization or through digital solutions. I expected you to come and speak of technical skills that are indispensable, the ones that cannot be replaced, and the ones that need constant teaching. When they spoke of critical thinking producing versatile workers, and they are telling you that if I'm a critical thinker, whereas for you, you see this, me, I can put a guard dog, although that was rebutted very well. But I expected you then to counter that through saying, okay, is there more versatility from a technical person rather than from one of critical thinking? And then the point of democracy and a lot of this civic-based education. I mean, corruption exists as a construct. You might teach me, but if I'm inherently rotten, regardless of what you teach me, it's like pouring flour on water, to quote my mother tongue. This is my mark allocation. Content, I found Team Affirmative superior to a mark of 24, to a score of 22 for Team Negative. Style, I found all you lacking. People are not accepting POIs in their speeches. The cross-examiners were not using up the entire time, so I gave both of you 11. For strategy, I gave Team Affirmative 23 and Team Negative 20, making a total of 58 for Team Affirmative and 53 for Team Negative.
Thank you so much. To start with, ladies and gentlemen, there are certain things by now we should not be talking about. Let's be careful with the 10 cents. Both of you, if you have now decided that it is a value resolution, which arguments do you have that stand and say, if this one does, this one will happen. If this one is like this one will happen? Tell us if it's value, if now you're prioritizing the civic education and the critical thinking, what is happening? Because all these things are in place. Tell us if it is value resolution and then you are giving the technical skills a priority. Don't tell us if you see this and this happens, this will happen. No, what is going to happen? Because maybe what may not have been given in place right now is the priority. But whatever both sides are talking about is already in place. So what are the fruits that we are seeing? Because it is from those very fruits that we are seeing that you're now going to be able to drop a better comparative analysis with what you're talking about. Next up to that, Team Affirmative. It was not your responsibility to tell them how you will prioritize, but it was your responsibility to tell them how you have prioritized it. This is what I mean. If you had to come and say, we are going to prioritize by doing A, B, C, D, then it means you are taking it to be policy. But if you tell them how you have been able to prioritize, it remains value. So now this is what I mean. If they ask you, how are you going to prioritize? You don't say, we are going to prioritize by prioritizing, as one of your speakers said. No. Is it that you have now given it more resources? Is it that you have now given it an upper hand? Is it that now maybe the other one is taking a percentage of 50, or maybe the other one is taking a percentage of maybe 40? So if it's priority, just as for them, they say that, no, they say this priority is coming with allocation of more funds. It does not mean that you say, we are going to allocate more funds. You say, in our world where we are talking about, what we are talking about has already happened. And the way we have been able to prioritize ABCD is that we have been able maybe to allocate such and such a given amount of money to the same. So that's why I said, it was not your responsibility to tell them how you will, but it was your responsibility to tell them how you have. But even to team negative, that also asks the very question. Even if your priority comes with the third speech. To team negative, from the maybe they will cut this out of the camera. But you see what your third speaker did is what the first two speakers were meant to do. Your case was properly understood in your third speech. That's why it's the third speaker who comes and tells us, how are you going to prioritize? Next up, let's reduce on the reading. For the speakers that overread, you know yourselves. And this applies to all of us. By the way, not only to the people that are here, even to the people at the back. One of the challenges I've seen that most teams are doing is that people, when we give you resolutions, you get fonts, go to ChatGPT or to Meta, you put in the resolution and you get that speech. That is what you come and read for us here. And for us, if you're reading for us something from ChatGPT, we shall know. You're meant to own the arguments. If a person fails to own an argument, this thing of reading as if you have come for a speech, it means that someone scripted it for you, or you just got it, you just did the copy and paste from AI and you put it on the script. So let's own the arguments, because actually the arguments are really right, but the way you are being able to put them out is really lacking. Then, one of the judges told you that it being a value, you are meant to tell us what is in place. You see, for them, they told you that why we are prioritizing civic education and then the critical thinking, they are able to tell you what is in place. For example, if you look at the current democratic state, people do not know the reason for voting. People are not voting. People are not. That's why they are necessitating this. You see, the truth of the matter is, it is really difficult to marry the technology. Okay, it is really difficult to prove that the technical skills meet the purpose of the civic education and the critical thinking. Because it is now going to be hard for you now to prove how is the issue of technical skill going to answer the issue of corruption. But if you begin by telling us the problem in status quo, it means you are going to be able to tell them that you see the issue of civic education and you're talking about, it does not stand in the current country, in the current state we are looking at. Because people in Uganda already know what is democracy. People know that we are having a government by the people, for the people, and made up by the people. That's why you're having people going to vote. That's why you see the Electoral Commission has already been able to sensitize people how they meant to vote, what's the importance of voting. So that is not an issue. The issue you're having in status quo is maybe unemployment, it is maybe shortage of labor. And hence, if we give a priority to the technical skills, it gives a remedy to what we have in place. But if you now just argue whatever you have, it is difficult to now marry the alternative you have to whatever they are talking about. So now the question is going to be, how will technical skills teach people democratic principles? But if you begin by telling them what you have and you tell them whatever you're talking about does not stand, people, it is already catered for. What you're talking about is the issue. Maybe the issue is to do with employment. Maybe the issue is to do with labor. And hence the technical skill is able to respond to whatever you're talking about. The marks. 14 for style, 13. Betterly explained why they give you 13 for style. Content, 24, 24. Strategy, 25, 24. Making a total of 63 for team affirmative and a total of 61 for team negative. Thank you so much.
So for today's debate, I think what actually stood out for me is that when it comes to critical thinking and civic competence and technical skills, what does the society in Uganda today need? So the question was whether which one outweighs the other in terms of the society that is present. So I remember, I think it was Afama 2. Afama 2 asked a question in regards to, in terms of when the subject matter of the trade or the profession phases out. They gave an example of wood. When the subject matter of the trade phases out, what then happens to that particular trade that you have maybe specialized in terms of technical skills? What then happens to that particular trade if the subject matter phases out? And I feel like the negators did not satisfactorily answer that, because that is the entire bane of the technical skills coming into place to hone a certain skill. So when it came to, and the question that comes up with civic competence, what is the society, or what do the citizens of Uganda currently have in place that needs to be addressed? I believe the negators did not answer that in regards to what society has. And kudos to Afama One. Afama One really played their role excellently in terms of, defining and giving us the current status quo. I think that is applaudable. And then in regards to, I feel like from negator 2 to the last negator, they failed to distinguish innovation from critical thinking, even though innovation is a product of critical thinking, but it is not what entirely sums up critical thinking. Critical thinking is more than innovation. So I believe you should address your minds to what critical thinking is in this regard. It is not just merely innovation. So my decision came down to who satisfactorily answered the question that was at hand in regards to the society that we have. So that is why I gave my win to Team Affirmative. Here are my marks. For style, I gave 12 for both teams, Team Negative and Affirmative. Then for content, I gave 25 to Team Affirmative because I could see it from the first Affirma's speech that there was enough research in regards to the motion at hand. And then I gave 24 to Team Negative. Then for strategy, I gave 24 to Team Affirmative and 24 to Team Negative, totaling to 61 for Team Affirmative and 60 for Team Negative. To sum it all up, I believe Team Affirmative unanimously won this debate.